For the council meeting of July 12th, 2012. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mayor, a quorum is present for the City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority, and Joint Powers Authority.
Okay, before we start the council meeting, I want to read a special commendation to Johnny Beatrice Ellis, 100th birthday celebration. Is with great pride and pleasure. The Mayor and Council of the City of Inglewood join with family, friends, and loved ones to extend heartfelt birthday greetings to the City of Inglewood resident, Johnny Beatrice Ellis, on the occasion of her 100th birthday celebration. We salute Miss Ellis for her more than 50 years as a proud resident of Inglewood. Johnny Ellis has been blessed with mankind's most treasured gift, the gift of life. Affectionately known as Nana and mother of St. John Missionary Baptist Church, she is a source of wisdom, inspiration, and encouragement. Today, we recognize Miss Ellis as a living legacy at 100 years of age, who has been and continues to be an inspiration to all who know and love her. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council of Inglewood, California, do hereby honor Johnny Beatrice Ellis and extend congratulations and best wishes to her on her 100th birthday celebration. We celebrate a life well lived, and may you continue to be blessed with good health and much happiness. Presented this 12th day of July 2022. Thank you. Okay. Now, for dial in for open session. Madam Clerk, do you have another redone agenda?
I can give you mine, Mayor. I'll just take
Okay, well, no, I'm just hoping the numbers are the same.
Oh, we just want to make sure that.
Yeah, we'll just change. When you get to that, you let me know.
Okay, but
So
Mayor.
the access code for today is 888-251-2949 or 215-861-0694. And then we're going to use this specific access code for today, 3689465 #. Wait 3 seconds and press pound again. Again, the access code is 3689465 #. Wait 3 seconds and press pound again. So public comment. Any persons wishing to address the City Council on any public items on the agenda may do so at this time. Operator, are there any callers on the line?
Mayor, you want to announce SPH 1 through SPH 4 pulled?
SPH 1 through SPH 4 have been pulled,
Yes,
so they're
sir.
not on the agenda. Any callers on any other items? Operator?
If you wish to make a comment, please press pound 2 on your telephone keypad. Let's go to our first caller. Your line is unmuted. Please go ahead.
I'm calling to make public comment on the short-term rental ordinance. Is that now or later on?
Later.
That's for later.
Oh, wait, thank you.
No, it's the
Next caller, please go ahead.
It's PH 1, right? Oh,
For 1 second.
Okay. I'm
Ma'am,
sorry.
let's go back to that caller. It's 01, so she can take that now.
Caller, if you could please press pound 2 on your telephone again.
Okay, this one is different.
Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nancy Hanna. I'm calling from Better Neighbors LA, and I'm calling to make a comment about Inglewood's proposed short-term regulations to the effect that they are impractical from an enforcement perspective. Your proposed ordinance creates a regulatory scheme that will require detailed and constant oversight, verification, and confirmation to be fully enforced. It will require significant investment in funding and staffing. To just take one example of one regulation, the proposed residency requirement to register a vacation rental would require verifying an individual's residences over the past decade. Moreover, once the registration is granted, the city would need to at least periodically verify the host residence on an ongoing basis moving forward for the pendency of the rental. To do otherwise would allow hosts to claim to have been a long-term resident of Inglewood, purchase a home to take off the market, and simply move away if they ever live there at all. Even Los Angeles, reporting a budget surplus, has admitted the logistical difficulties it faces verifying host residences, and LA doesn't even allow for vacation rental. Inglewood, likely with fewer resources, is proposing a much more laborious licensing structure while also allowing for vacation rental. Full enforcement of the Inglewood proposed short-term rental ordinance is paramount to protecting Inglewood residents and their housing. Recent data released by Airbnb announced that 47% of Inglewood short-term rentals are hosted by people who have more than one property listed for rental. These represent commercial operators and at least 225 properties that are being used solely as commercial short-term rentals and not home sharing in a primary residence. Inglewood's regulation should return these 225 residential housing units to Inglewood residents. The Los Angeles Times recently reported that Southern California rents are rising higher than overall inflation and is in the double digits. Inglewood cannot afford to lose hundreds of housing units to short-term rental. City Council should simplify their ordinance so that it can be enforced and protect housing, limit short-term rentals to primary residences only, and prohibit unhosted short-term rentals. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Operator, next caller.
Please go ahead. Your line is unmuted.
Hi, my name is Heather, and we've spoken before about the upcoming ordinance. And what I think is interesting is regardless of whether or not it's somebody who is pro allowing short-term rentals to happen in the city or somebody who is anti allowing short-term rentals to happen in the community, that there's something that we can both agree on, and that it's that an ordinance that is overly complicated and requires so many checks of going back to make sure isn't logistically feasible. It's setting up like a field of mine traps for people to navigate their way through. And I don't think that it's realistic. And again, you're going to hear from both pros and cons, but both of us are saying that there's some real serious issues. Breaking it down into just the vacation rental side, limiting vacation rentals for 90 days per year basically outlaws vacation rentals. And if that's what you guys decide that you want to do for a variety of reasons, and I see that we've got the report and I appreciate all the thoughtfulness that has gone into this process, I very much do. But I want to be realistic in saying that if an owner has a vacation rental and they're only allowed to operate it for 90 days, what are they going to do with it the other 9 months out of the year? It's just, it's not feasible. It makes it so vacation rentals are not allowed in the city. And if that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative to do so. I like very much the way that you have separated out the short-term rental and the vacation rental ordinances, and it's the vacation rental ordinance at the 90 days, as well as making sure that the person is an owner for 10 years, as well as making sure that they live within 1,000 feet, that literally it's just tangles upon administration tangles. And I think there's going to be a bulk of people who will jump through the hoops and create whatever paperwork they need to create in order to get across the finish line, but it's not really going to be the intention of the ordinance that you want. I think the intention for the short term is being set up more clearly. I like the hosted versus unhosted. I think that that's very clear. It's very manageable, and it does what you want it to do within the city. I also appreciate that you've really incorporated the ADUs as much as you're able to, and I think that there's a lot of questions about whether or not the ADUs built after 2017 are going to be allowed. But I do think there's many things about the short-term rental side and the ADU which are on the right track, and I appreciate you being thoughtful and mindful. The vacation rental side of it really needs to be gone over again, and I think that there's more things that need to be cut out than can stay in if it's actually going to be a feasible ordinance. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Okay, real quick, and we want to let everybody get their time, but the reality is that we want to preserve as much housing as we can for full-time residents. And so the reality is, yes, it is very tough to do a whole house vacation rental, and we don't intend for it to be done throughout the year. We would rather people, if they had houses, an extra house, that they would rent it to someone. We do rather that. Or sell it to someone so they can become a full-time resident. And that's why it is so stringent. Operator, next caller.
Please go ahead. Your line is unmuted.
I'm actually calling to speak about item CC number 1, the health care minimum wage. Should I wait?
No, that's on the agenda. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go right
Okay,
ahead.
great. Thank you. This is Adina Tesler, and I'm here on behalf of the Hospital Association of Southern California to discuss the proposed minimum wage increase for certain healthcare workers. We strongly urge the City Council to refer this deeply flawed measure to the ballot so that you can decide, so that you can ask for an economic analysis prior to taking any action and allow the people of Inglewood to vote. This minimum wage measure before you is inequitable and risky. In fact, the vast majority of healthcare workers throughout the city of Inglewood are excluded by the measure. 73% of the healthcare facilities in Inglewood and their workers would be excluded. We all agree that healthcare workers are heroes, but this measure isn't a way to say thank you. It is deeply flawed, inequitable, and will ultimately hurt workers and patients in our most vulnerable communities. There are many unintended consequences with this measure, and it is vital that the city understand the impact on the city itself, workers, healthcare providers, and the economy as a whole. Therefore, we strongly urge the City Council to refer this deeply flawed measure to the ballot for Inglewood voters to decide. We also urge you to first conduct an economic analysis prior to acting on the initiative to understand which healthcare workers would be excluded and who would benefit. This measure also applies unequally to different types of healthcare providers. The city should understand which providers are required to meet the new provisions and which are not, and what the fiscal and staffing impacts will be on both covered and non-covered facilities. The analysis should also include a broad review of the potential impacts on healthcare costs and access to healthcare in Inglewood, including the impact on uninsured, disadvantaged, and underserved communities. The measure requires the city to enforce these wage requirements. A comprehensive analysis should include the cost to the city to implement and enforce these provisions. For these reasons, we encourage the city to order an economic study prior to acting on this measure. Ultimately, because this measure is far more complex than it appears, we think this is a matter that should be fully analyzed and understood prior to sending it to the voters. We appreciate your time, and HASC is here as a resource as you move forward with this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What was the name of your group again?
The Hospital Association of Southern California.
Thank you very much. Operator, next caller.
There are no more callers in the queue.
Then we'll close public comment. We're going to go to the library. Oh, I meant for these people. I'm sorry, for the callers. It appears there's nobody in the library.
We have one speaker, Mayor.
All right, go right ahead.
Marvin McCoy. This is a beefy agenda. One thing I wanted to touch on was the transfer of funds from to the Sheriff's Department. And as of right now, no one knows the cost of this extra cost associated with the opening of SoFi Stadium. I've done many a document request, can't get anything of solidified from the city clerk's office. Here's another concern I do have. There was a gentleman that committed suicide at SoFi Stadium yesterday. Or no, not yesterday. I want to be clear with my facts. Last week, and the response from the mayor and police department is insufficient. We need to solidify the police department, get what they want, pay them. You're losing officers day by day. They're transferring. SPH1, I can't comment on that, but when will the developers start paying their fair due? They have been robbing this city forever.
Which item are you speaking on right now?
The items that you pulled.
Well, you can't speak on those, so go and speak
I
on
didn't
something
ask
else.
you to comment on it. You're wasting my time again, Mayor.
So go on and
Let's
speak
not
on
do this.
something
Let's
that's
not
on
do
the
this this week.
agenda.
You're dressed very nice this week. So
What'd he
what
say?
else we got here? It's so much beefy stuff. Let me ask you this. With the Airbnb short-term rental, when are we going to get an update of those 4 young people that were savagely murdered and there's no arrest been made yet? What about Andrew Summerfield at Derby Park? In fact, when are we going to hire a new police chief? He's
Okay,
inefficient.
Mr.
Sir.
Mr.
Sir, freedom of
You're
speech.
going to have to speak on the agenda, or we're
Okay,
going to cut you
going
off.
back to the transfer of
You-
funds. We're going back to the transfer of funds to the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department.
Okay?
How many sworn officers are there on the Inglewood Police Department?
You have any more?
I want to know.
Do you
if
have
the
any
money
more
that
pub-
I
do you have
want
any
to
more
know,
public comment?
Mayor, we're doing
Okay.
this. I'm going back to the agenda. Mayor,
Do you have
I'm
any?
sorry,
Do you
can
have
we
any
get an opinion
further
from the city
public
attorney,
comment?
please?
Okay, that'll end public comment at the library.
In that comment, sir. I'm according to the rules of the Robert Rules of Orders. I'm on the agenda.
If you walk away from that podium,
If
sir,
you walk away, if you keep stopping me
If
because
you
know I
walk
know you're
away from the
BS,
podium, we're
then
gonna
you're
cut your
interfering with my
time.
Once again, you're violating my Bain rights. You've consistently, for years, have stopped me from involving myself in the political process. How long do you want to continue to do this, sir? I yield my time.
he's really disturbed. That'll close public comment. And we're going to go on to what's the next scheduled matter?
Warrant register, Mayor.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members, successor agency members, and housing authority members, Dotson.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. DR1.
Staff report recommending adoption of a resolution authorizing the city council and all other legislative bodies of the city to continue to conduct public meetings via teleconference from July 12, 2022 through August 11, 2022 pursuant to Assembly Bill 361.
Move adoption.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dotson.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. What's the next scheduled matter?
Mayor, the next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider an ordinance approving zoning code amendment 2021 through 003 to amend Articles 1, 7, 10, 10.2, 10.3, 10.3.1, 10.4, 10.5, 10.5.1, 10.6, 10.7, 10.8, 11.1, and 19 of Chapter 12 of the Municipal Code to establish regulations for hookah lounges citywide.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law? And do you have the affidavit on file?
Yes, Mayor, notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received?
No communications, Mayor, has been received.
Mr. City Manager, is a staff report on the matter?
Yes, Mr. Bedard McCumbly, Senior Planner, will give the staff report.
Bernard, please. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor Butts and members of the council. City administration, in coordination with the Inglewood Police Department, requested that the Planning Division consider a code amendment related to hookah lounges due to the potential increase in crime activity and the negative impact on the surrounding businesses. A hookah lounge is an establishment where patrons socially gather to smoke flavored tobacco from a hookah, also known as a water pipe. The Inglewood Municipal Code currently does not specify or have any regulations related to hookah lounges. The city currently has 2 active hookah lounges operating. The details on those locations can be found as an attachment to your staff report. In order to determine the potential regulations, staff researched regulations from surrounding cities and also solicited input from the Inglewood Police Department by way of crime statistics for the existing hookah lounge locations. Based on staff's research of regulations in surrounding cities and input from the Inglewood Police Department, The following regulations were recommended for approval or adoption by the Planning Commission for hookah lounges at the May 4th Planning Commission meeting. That new or expanded hookah lounges require a special use permit approval. Requiring this SUP approval would ensure that an additional level of review for potentially sensitive uses, as well as the ability to apply site-specific conditions for potential hookah lounge uses. The second regulation is that hookah lounges be prohibited within 600 feet of any school, public playground, or nonprofit youth facility. This guideline is consistent with similar separation requirements that we have for youth facilities, for example, liquor stores, also smoke shops, and things of that sort. Hookah lounges shall have a parking requirement of 1 to 300, one space per 300 square feet, and hours of operation commencing at 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. This code amendment will also introduce a definition for hookah lounges. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you. Public comment. Are there any callers on the line who want to make public comment on this matter?
Yes. First caller, please go ahead.
Well, I've been in line, but I don't want to make a comment about that person about a hookah. I want to make a personal comment about four children that were killed.
Okay, ma'am, you're gonna have to do that at the end of the meeting. All right. Next caller.
You so disrespectful. You need to be fired.
Next caller.
We do not have any callers in the queue.
Okay, caller that was just called, you can call back for 1 minute at the end of the meeting. Okay, I'm going to pull item 2 from the consent calendar, and we're going to...
Hold on. Did we finish on the discussion?
Oh, there we go. Is there anybody in the library who wants to comment on?
No speakers in the library, Mayor.
All right. It's move items 2.
Mayor, can I comment?
Okay, go ahead.
I have a couple of questions in regards to, I'm not a big fan. I know that some of the ones.
Councilman, can you pull the mic closer to you?
Sorry. Yeah, so I know that we're trying to establish a rule that has never been established, right? So that new people that are applying to bring in a hookah lounge, we can hold them accountable. But even the staff report starts with, we're basically doing this because of the increased negative impact activities around them. So I'm not so sure. I know I saw a police here. I don't know. Did you have any comments on it, Captain? Okay. So, and I'll give you my questions, and maybe we hold off, Mayor, because I'm having some issues with one in my area, and we're talking about bringing an additional, allowing rules to continue to allow them.
So
Whereas for me, I'm thinking, why are we opening up the door when we're basically doing this because we have an increased negative impact, right? So that's what I'm saying. But just so that I could continue my issues, and then maybe we can talk about it. The other one, there's we're establishing a 600 feet from schools or parks, but if you're trying to sell alcohol, it's 1,000 feet. So I'm not so sure why we're doing that we're decreasing that when, we can establish that a restaurant would sell it, but here it's just a smoking facility, right? And so I'm just trying to contemplate like how we came up with this because I'm familiar with some of the issues. One of them's in my area. The other item is, we're decreasing the parking spaces because of it would allow them to kind of go into like the strip mall type of places, and that to me is interesting. I'm just trying to figure out where we're coming from here because, if we're really trying to protect the area, I just don't believe this is strong enough. This is easy. It's easier to, even the cigar shops have it harder than this most of the time, and that to me so when I read it, I was just trying to figure out what the report was gonna be. That's where my intention is, Mayor,
Okay,
so.
so Bernard, probably be better if you explain for the councilman's benefit, for the council's benefit, why we've opened this public hearing. Obviously, there was a reason that we had to do it, and so explain why we had to do it, and give him an answer on the difference between 600 feet for a hookah lounge and 1,000 feet for alcohol service.
Sure. So the establishment of the regulations were, as mentioned before, to provide staff and the city guidelines to regulate the use, which is not currently regulated. One of the reasons why we established the 600-foot separation from youth facilities is because it's a standard code separation that we have, for example, for liquor stores. I do believe that with our smoke shop ordinance, I think we did require 1,000-foot. I'm sorry to clarify, we required 1,000-foot separation from another smoke shop, but it was 600.
There's another thing that isn't addressed here in terms of separating these.
Yes.
So that's another question I was gonna bring up.
Okay.
One second, Bernard. The reality is, it's not illegal to have hookah lounge, is it?
No, it's not.
So basically, what we're doing is we're establishing regulations, and so what I would suggest is that we table this for now, that you get together with Councilman Morales, because he's the one that has the biggest.
Oh, talking to your.
He's the one with the biggest dog in the fight.
Yeah.
He's got one in his district, and then come back and we can redo the public hearing.
Yeah, that's better.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed. And just to point out though, I pointed out some of the stuff you can already address, and then I was just gonna add the fact of from one to the other, exactly what you said, that we don't even allow lounges to be within 1,000 feet of each other.
Mhm.
So I was gonna say, come up with something at least 1,000 feet
Right.
to do that.
I got no problem with that.
I'm sorry, I did hear you. We would,
Basically 1,000-foot separation from
At
another
least, yeah.
hookah lounge. He wants 1,000-foot separation
Right, and then
from schools,
the
and
parking, because then what you do is you limit where they go in terms of, the family eaters. But I don't mind sitting with you guys.
absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
so we'll table this
Is
and
it-
we'll
is it-
reschedule the public hearing.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Mayor.
Yes.
At the request of staff, we're asking for a 90-day continuance.
Okay.
Is that amenable?
That's
Yeah,
definitely
that's fine.
amenable.
Okay. We thank you, and
Thank
then
you.
we'll schedule accordingly.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So for those that say we say aye to everything.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to pull two on the.
No,
consent.
I've already pulled it.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we're on the consent calendar.
Mm-hmm.
We're pulling item 2, and we're going to items 3 through 8.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Did you get, you did, Drew Johnson. Aye. Okay, now we're going back to item 2, and there's only 3 members on the dais that were present for that meeting. And so is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I was supposed to mention Dotson. I'm sorry, excuse me. Councilmember Dotson.
I abstain.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. SPH 1.
It's pulled, Mayor.
Oh, that's right. And through 4 are pulled. So we're going. We're on 01.
Staff report recommending introduction of an ordinance amending Inglewood Municipal Code, Chapter 8 and 12, including zoning code amendment 2018-01 to establish short-term rental regulations.
Motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
I'll introduce.
A1.
One was the negotiation for real property located at 816 East Manchester Boulevard and 401 South Prairie Avenue. As to that, a status was given to the city council and direction given to staff. As to CS2, that item was not discussed and no discussion held as to that matter. As to A2, there's no oral reports from the city attorney's office.
Thank you. CM1,
Thank you, Mayor. There are no oral reports from the city manager's office.
CC1,
Staff report recommending the receiving and filing of a report certifying the results of an examination of signatures in support of an initiative petition for a proposed ordinance to establish a minimum wage for certain employees employed to work at or by a privately owned covered healthcare facility located within the city of Inglewood.
okay, so,
Have some discussion. Mayor, real quick.
with this discussion, Councilman Morales.
Thank you. And obviously, this is a big item, something that was spoken about. A certain group of healthcare workers are looking for a raise from their employer. They want it established as an ordinance for us to raise the minimum wage that they could be paid.
For certain
For
facilities.
certain facilities. They have been doing it throughout the cities. Of course, we have a hospital here. And quite frankly, my position on that, and I completely support healthcare workers. We all know the role they play in society and how important they are. They're true heroes. But to make an impact decision based on just signatures, a call, and a presentation would not be responsible without understanding the impacts it has on so many other facilities as well as our city. So at this time, for me, I would be open to either sending it out to the voters for them to be able to make their own choice and have both interested parties put their information out, or have staff prepare a report that would give us the opportunity to study the issue deeper. But something tells me that no matter how deep we get, it will be difficult to truly understand the full impact of that. So those are my quick comments. I'd like to see where my colleagues stand.
Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
so I agree with Councilmember Morales as well. As you know, we are just coming out of COVID-19, the pandemic, and all of our healthcare workers are heroes. So we owe them greatly for getting us through this pandemic. And this is an effort to have them on a better footing by them. And I'm a big healthcare worker supporter. I'm a big union. So I feel like we have hardworking people in our community doing everyday jobs. And so we need to listen to them, hear them. And like Councilmember Morales said, I would like the opportunity to dig deeper into this issue and see exactly where we can fall so that both parties can be in a better position going forward. So I definitely support the suggestion of Councilmember Morales, and I look forward to getting more information and doing a deeper dive on this issue.
Okay, this is an issue of appreciating heroes at all. This is an issue of picking winners and losers, who has to pay a certain wage regardless of their ability to pay or not. And right now, we don't know if everyone listed in this proposed ordinance has the ability to pay, and nor do we know that they have the ability to give raises based upon the cost of living as reported by the federal government every year. I feel we must choose C, as Councilman Morales has suggested, to refer the ordinance to staff to prepare a report so that we have some idea of what it is that we're doing, and then come back and debate that report. So is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, you're moving item C. You're receiving and file a report and moving item C, is that correct?
Now, real quick, just to clarify, we do item C, and it would come back, and we would have the opportunity to either adopt or send it out to the voters,
Yes.
correct?
Okay, but yes, you would. However, with time, restraints, we need to move ASAP because of how soon we need to get whatever to
What
the
is the
county.
deadline for the ballot? Because at this point, basically what you're saying is we would be strained for time, and so we're not gonna rush into it. The only other option would be to send it directly to the voters.
Correct, if we
Because
choose to do that.
as the mayor and my colleague said, we
Mhm.
don't have enough information, we would be doing something
Right,
irresponsible, as
that's
the mayor said.
completely.
So if that's the case and we're in the
Well,
timeline, we'll let
let's
them vote.
understand, what is the timeline?
Yeah.
Well, I have until, if I'm not mistaken, August the 12th to get this to the county. However, it has to go to the Board of Supervisors. There's a process, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And so with you guys' recommendations, I have to get it to the Board of Supervisors, letting them know that you guys decided to take it to the voters, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera, and then they would have to get it to the County Register Recorder's Office.
So if we had a report by next week, would that be sufficient for the timeline?
It can. If you guys vote on it and then give me the direction to move, then it can.
So we're gonna give staff a week to prepare a report for us as to the potential impacts, and then we can make an informed choice as to whether to choose A or B.
Yes, sir.
All right. So with that as a caveat, I agree with Councilman Morales' motion to move item C.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. CC2,
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2022.
receive and file. CC3,
Yes, Mayor, just want to announce that starting Monday, July the 18th, nomination period opens. You have to contact my office at 310-412-5280 to make an appointment to come and file, pull papers and/or return them. Again, 310-412-5280. Thank you, Mayor. Concludes my remarks.
thank you. CI1,
Joint initiative by Council Members Alex Padilla and George W. Dodson requesting approval of city sponsorship of the Toyota Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo Traveling Museum event to be held on Friday, July 15, 2022, from 12 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. at Edward Vincent Park.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council Members Dodson.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye, the successor agency is in session. CSA2,
Approval of the minutes of the meeting held on May 24th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Successor agency members, Dodson.
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay. Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye, CSA3,
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2022.
receive and file, adjourn the successor agency. The Housing Authority is in session. H2,
Approval of the minutes of the meeting held on May 24th, 2022.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Housing Authority members, Dodson,
Abstain.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye, H3,
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2022.
receive and file, adjourn the Housing Authority. The JPA is in session. JPA1,
Approval of the minutes of the meeting held on May 24th, 2022.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Joint Powers Authority members, Dodson,
Abstain.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye, JPA2,
Monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending May 31st, 2022.
receive and file, adjourn the JPA. There are no appointments to boards and commissions, or I don't see any anyway. Public comments regarding other matters, 1 minute. Operator, any callers? Operator?
Please press pound 2 if you wish to make a comment. We do not have, we actually have one now.
Go right ahead, caller. 1 minute.
Please go ahead.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Fred Ortega, and I am here to speak on behalf of Prime Healthcare and Sentinel Hospital Medical Center on item 1. I appreciate Councilman Morales' suggestion and the council's willingness to delve into this very important issue more thoroughly with a staff report. As you all know, Sentinel Hospital Medical Center has been serving Inglewood and the greater Los Angeles community for nearly 100 years. Our staff of 1,240 employees and nearly 400 clinicians are dedicated to improving the health of our community and providing innovative and integrated health care. With more than 30 awards and recognitions from Health Grades, the Joint Commission, and many more, Sentinel and its dedicated employees perform nearly 60,000 outpatient procedures annually and see close to 50,000 emergency room visits per year. We understand acutely the sacrifices our healthcare workers have made in recent years during the pandemic to keep our communities safe. We have lived that commitment. Sentinel has been a beacon of hope during the pandemic, treating more than 3,600 COVID-positive patients, administering more than 10,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine, and providing early access to City of Inglewood personnel, many faith-based and other community organizations, and our own staff. Unfortunately, this proposed healthcare worker minimum wage measure is deeply flawed, inequitable, and would hurt access to care, especially for our disadvantaged communities. The measure picks winners and losers among essential workers and even among healthcare workers themselves. It provides wage increases for less than 30% of all healthcare workers, effectively only those at private hospitals and hospital facilities. But it excludes community clinics, Planned Parenthood, nursing homes, and other critical healthcare providers. That's unequal and unfair.
Okay,
Furthermore, this ballot measure would put enormous...
We're going to have to wrap it up, but go ahead.
It would just put enormous financial strain on all healthcare providers in our city, many of which are suffering, as you know, financially during the pandemic. So we appreciate the council's request for an economic analysis to better understand the unintended consequences of this measure. Thank you for your time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other callers? Operator.
Yes, next caller, please go ahead. Caller, make sure your line is unmuted. Let's move to our next caller. Please go ahead.
Hello. So my name is Tiffany Stein, and I am calling in the matter of 4 kids that were brutally murdered. And it's been no recognition. Brianna, Marnisha, Jalen, and Teron, 4 children that were murdered. It was only 7 people in the house, but you guys labeled it a house party. 4 of those kids was never able to walk away, and you have 3 others. That was not an isolated event. If that was an isolated event, then why is people still walking around, no reward money, no updates, no anything? And I want to know why you, James, personally thought that it was okay to go in there and say that our kids were gang members. I don't understand that. And why you're not giving out no rewards. Why are these police not giving us no updates? These are our children. This crime was committed by thugs with no human compassion. Our children was not out there gangbanging and fighting or doing anything. They were trying to enjoy themselves with 7 people. That's not a party. Why would you take it upon yourself to speak for our children, James? And why we don't have no updates? I'm the mother of Brianna and Juanisha, and I want answers. And I'm done.
Thank you. Very sorry for your loss. However, the information that we did... Ma'am, I'm speaking right now. Operator, could you mute the line, please? And the information that we had was that from the surviving victim that the participants did have gang involvement. The investigation showed that they did have gang involvement, and the investigation showed that the shooters were gang involved, and the house was rented for a party. That's why we said what we said. We weren't meant no disrespect or no insults. Sometimes we just have to say things as they are, but these are all someone's children, and this is a crime. It was a heinous crime, and we're investigating it. And as far as updates, Families are updated as we receive new information that is disclosable. And Captain DiBernardo, have I said anything that is incorrect? All right. Thank you very much. Next caller.
We do not have any more callers on the line.
All right. Are there any speakers in the library for general public comment?
No speakers, Mayor.
All right, we'll close public comment. And now we'll go to mayor and council remarks. Councilman Dodson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to invite everybody out to Edward Vincent Park this Friday, July 15th, from 12 to 6. Actually, it's 12 to 8. What this is a history of black cowboys. They have a trailer that you can walk through that will give you a real sense of what has gone on in the black cowboys world. So not only that, we'll have refreshments, and we'll also be giving away free tickets to a family, no more than 5, to go to the actual rodeo, which is the next day. So I really think you would bring your kids out here and they would really enjoy it. So bring them to the Everett Vincent Park. That's from 12 to 6 this Friday. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. Wear your cowboy stuff, because I'm going to have mine on. So come out and enjoy yourself. Thank you, Mayor. Everybody have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Councilman Falk, District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to say that I am looking forward to coming to that event. My boys are going to love it. We don't have any cowboy outfits, but we're still going to come and have a great time. So it's going to be a wonderful event. I hope all of our families in Inglewood come on out and join the event. It'll be new and different and very educational. I just want to extend my condolences to the family of the man that passed away at SoFi Stadium last week and drowned in the lake. And so sincere condolences to that family. Very difficult information. I think our mayor did a wonderful job of updating the community residents and everybody on that situation, but it's a travesty and it's very sad, but just want to extend my condolences to that family. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Morales, District 3.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to briefly go over another comment on the short-term rentals. The mayor did a good job, actually, of establishing, kind of where we stand. I did get some calls after the last meeting, and just want to further clarify that our intention is strictly tuned into the residents here and how they can benefit from just the transformation of the city. But at the same time, it's all about protecting our communities, establishing, the integrity and responsibility of the owners. So there was a caller that said, hey, if we have it as a vacation property, if you don't live in the city of Inglewood close enough to take care of it, we're not promoting that business. We don't want that business. And I only say that because I got into 2 conversations since our last meeting, and I think it's important that, that's our intention. I'm happy with the short-term rentals ordinance that we have. So that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
I also wanted to make clear that, we do have extreme sympathy for the family of the gentleman that drowned in the lake. However, there is no indication that he committed suicide. We don't have a report back from the coroner's office, so that is a mystery right now. And then as far as short-term rentals, I want to make it clear that the council's intent was twofold. It was to preserve as much housing to be available for renters at a reasonable cost as possible. But at the same time, we did not want to allow LLCs, corporations, outside entities that have a large capital to invest, to buy up property and turn them into short-term rentals. That's why they're excluded from being able to operate short-term rentals. Our residents who have waited so long for the opportunities that are available to other residents of other cities should have the opportunity to rent out space in their home for short-term rentals, for short-term rentals. And this is an effort to balance the opportunity and the availability of prosperity for our residents and keep out corporations from buying up properties in Inglewood that would never have people living in them. So this was a solemn-like project, and I think that staff did a very good job. And with that, we're adjourned.